Ah, finally there. All right. Hello. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. This is only on for like 17 seconds. Let's see if I can actually get this set right. Okay. Yeah, it's up and going. All right. And okay, so business stuff. So tonight's conversation is going to be ETs on Earth. For those that don't know, I'm an ET abductee all my life. All my freaking life. And why is this not showing up? Anyhow, welcome. It's been a minute and I still don't have. Obviously, I'm running late today. There we are. Okay. There we go. Sound off. But I need to be able. How can I share that out? Oh, yes, it does have a share. Awesome. Anyhow, excuse me as I try to set this up. I'm just learning how to do this from a different device. Hi, for those who are here. There's some things I had wanted to talk about tonight, and this may take me a bit to get there. I'm not used to this device yet, so I do apologize ahead of time. Bit of ahead of time. Okay. That's done. Trying to locate all the correct. This is a bit of business, so I do apologize because this is going to take me a bit. And you'll probably hear the dog squeaking stuff going off. So, okay, I'm trying to get all of this sent to the right folks. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. 15. Wow. Okay. Anyway, so we're supposed to be talking tonight about ETs on Earth. Are they? Are there ETs on Earth? Extraterrestrials on Earth? Yes, there are. Do I know people that have witnessed them? Yes, I do. Yes, I know them. Okay, one person I was supposed to get to first and it didn't work. There we go. All right. And I was going to talk about ETs that specifically came to me. You're going to call it a dream, but I was in a form of higher consciousness. Oh, hello. Wait, we're not talking about no, we're not talking about the damn trial. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad it's going on and all of that. But anyway, hello Prince, hello Para, could be anybody. So everybody's got their own opinion about ETs, about I know what I know because number one, I'm an experiencer. I am 57 years old, and lifelong ET abductee. I've been told by numerous psychics that it's been going on my entire life. I'm ignoring you. I am a Christian. So don't come at me with that. I've experienced all this stuff. If you're going to play that game, I will delete your ass off of my account. Don't pull that crap with me. All right. Anyway, so I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm an experiencer, I'm an energy worker. I guess we're going down that road again. For those that have been with me for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, thank you for rejoining. Thank you for coming back and watching. I appreciate it. For those that are going to put out things like that, I'm going to come at you. I'm going to come right back at you because I'm not putting up with any bullshit. Anyway, if you can't handle it, then head on out. So I've experienced ETs all my life. Okay. Whether anybody likes it or not. And believe me, there have been times where I haven't. I've been very angry about it at times. It's what I call the process because it is a lifelong experience. It is a lifelong, honey, I've met him. It's been a lifelong experience, some of which I cannot handle, some of which I cannot tolerate. This is why I call it a process, because it takes a while to understand ET abductions, even as an experiencer, as somebody who's gone through it my entire life, 57 frickin' years of it. Some of it's been good, some of it's not been so good. And then some of it has been truly horrific. So this is why I call being an ET abductee a process. Now, tonight's topic of conversation is not ET abductions. We can talk about that later. Yeah, you can classify whatever you want. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do that. So the point is, apparently somebody in chat cannot handle. They're doing the poor woo woo woo. You know what? Been there, done that. I've been through it. I've been through hell and back. It ain't pretty. It ain't fun. And there's a lot that you have to fight to come through and to deal with being an ET abductee. And it's not easy. It's not easy doing it. And I'm doing it loud, strong, and proud. So, well, they're going biblical, para, that's why. I was in the church for a lot of years. I get it. People can't handle it. Hey, Waylon. Carl Waylon. Hi. Thank you for coming in. Please don't be a troll. Anyway, so ETs are on Earth, whether we humans like it or not. Many different kinds of ET are on Earth. There are terrestrial in planet Earth who have been here. Yeah, he is, but read it forward and backward, Don Julio. So I get it. I've been down that road. It's not easy, and it's not easy where I come from either, and how I've had to deal with this. It's been a hell of an eye opener. I didn't come out as being psychic medium. All my friends knew, like really close friends knew. Others just always questioned, how the hell did she know that? So I didn't come out publicly until 2018. So I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it does, Para. So we have both ends of the spectrum represented tonight, it seems. Yeah, very much so. And I understand it. Everybody, even those that knew me 35 years ago, 35 years ago. I mean, they question, but they also know me. They also know I still stand firm in my beliefs. Um, and I stand even stronger now because I had an experience where I met and saw Jesus, and wow, was that an eye-opening experience. And I had an experience. Well, I had more than one, um, regarding God. I mean, it all source of love and light, and it wasn't a feeling of power. It was absolute, the purest form of love I've ever been around um my entire experience. And it humbled me. Oh man. Let me tell you, when God humbles you, you sit your ass down. Um, but I'm not talking about all of that tonight. I get it. I get why people have questions, and um, I understand it. I understand why people have a difficult time, especially those that are in religion, of any religion, in fact. Um, and there are ETs who do believe in source, which is why when some people who've been abductees say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ, or I rebuke you in the name of God, the ETs will turn around and walk away. There's a reason for that. Doesn't happen with all of them. Trust me on that one. Oh my God. No, doesn't happen very often. But there are very select races that do believe in a God, in a source. So that all said, tonight I keep trying to get back to it. I am not going there with either one. Well, in mysterious ways. Oh my God, yes, very mysterious ways. Anyway, um, so I have a very strong sense of faith, a very strong sense of belief in what I classify as what I have experienced. So anyway, um, how do I know that there are ETs on this planet? Well, during a night when I was doing lucid dreaming of my own control, my own volition, um, actually, I don't. I take it directly from him. Um, so I was doing lucid dreaming in order to protect myself regarding a different subject matter that was partly discussed last week. Now, uh, the whole situation regarding lucid dreaming, what a lot of people do not really grasp is that during lucid dreaming, you put yourself into a form of consciousness. It's a very specific form of consciousness state. I don't know I'm not the person to go to for the terminology for that kind of stuff. I can tell you what happens. I just may not know the names. Okay, so when you go into lucid dreaming, you're basically in a form of higher consciousness. And it's a specific kind of higher consciousness. And it's the kind where you can have a psychic link to other people. I've had psychic links to other people. Via it's telepathic. It's via lucid dreaming. It's 1 second I was in my dream and two souls connected. My soul connected with this person on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Washington State on the West Coast. And my higher consciousness during one round of lucid dreaming, to my shock, this is how I know. This is one of the reasons how I know. Connected with another soul who was doing their own version of lucid dreaming. Do I know who the person is? Yeah, because we exchanged names and, like a lack of better word, like a form of a business card with each other. I don't know how else to explain that. And then I knew that he would look me up and I would look him up after we were awake. And I did. I found him. I know who the person is. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to me because I experience a lot of interesting things. So, and I've had spirits connect telepathically in dreams, in lucid dreams. I've had a lot of other experiences via lucid dreams, including other psychics connect with me in lucid dreams. So anyway, I was in this lucid dream state, and to my shock and awe, I had a group of ET that contacted me. And I was like, really? Why me? And they're like, because you're listening, you're paying attention, and we want to tell you how we got here. And I went, what do you mean how you got here? So they're still in my lucid dream. Okay? There's 3 of them in my lucid dream. When I asked, what do you mean? Show me, tell me, what are you talking about? That's when I got taken out of my lucid dream and it became a full-on psychic link. And I got shown exactly. Now I've had something similar, but not with ET. I've had this very similar situation happen before. So that all said and done, they took me into a whole nother, they showed me exactly, not so much how they got here, other than they classified it as they quote unquote crash landed, because it was the only way that I would know and understand. I got the distinct impression, though, that it wasn't just a crash land, that they chose the planet in the vicinity, some kind of mechanical problems, and I'm assuming they're just based on what I was shown and told. I'm assuming that their ship is underwater. I don't know that. I was never told that, but it was like a psychic intuition type of knowing feeling when they were talking, when they were showing me what took place with them. And it's only in the last, because I've described them before, like the very first year I did my YouTube channel, I described them once or at least twice before, if not 3 times. And hi, Tony. Welcome, come on in. We're talking about ETs on Earth tonight, or trying to have that conversation. And so basically, they showed me verbatim how they got how they got here on Earth, and they chose the location that they did. It wasn't as primitive. Oh, move that. Thank you. It wasn't as primitive as certain areas, which I think is just, that fascinates me no end. Why they would say that, but they chose, hey, Woo Riders, welcome. So basically, oh, Amy, if you're around, I've had enough. So basically, if they chose this one area, they went into a village, and they basically look like everybody. They look like a human, other than they were taller. So the humans in that time frame in human history were about 5 feet 5'5", not much bigger than 5'7". Okay, these ETs that were human looking ran around 6'2", 6'4", 6'5" at the most. So they're somewhere between 6 foot and 6'5", based on my estimations and based on the research that I did after I woke up and went, holy crap on a cracker. I need to do some research to find out the time frame. Oh, I appreciate that, Tony. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, truly. And so what ended up taking place is I got shown that they chose this village way of life for almost 50 years, but the thing is that people started within the 40 year time frame. They basically said we need to be looking. They went together as a group. They would meet separately. They were spread out. If I remember correctly, they were spread out. You'd have to go back through my original videos that I talk about this, because that's where all the key peak memory stuff is located. I don't have any of my notes in front of me, and I spoke it right after this had, or shortly thereafter it had taken place, and it was a lot fresher in my head. Nance Hunter is slated is going to spout. Hey, Angelica. It's good to see you, hon. So, anyhow, they're here. And apparently I'm being tested tonight to see my patience level, which is fine. We'll see how far I go. So, anyway, they got together. They were spread out through these 3 villages because there were about 250 of them. And okay. Okay, nope. I'm done. Okay, let's see. What was the other one? A little bit of business here, folks. Just a second. I have about had enough. Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Just a second. See if I can. There you go, my dear. Okay. So put something in chat, Para. Anything. It'll show you. Anyhow, so hopefully I'm still alive. Yes, I'm still alive. All right. Anything. There you go. Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Tony. I haven't looked it up yet, but I trust her. Well, that's fine. So my point is that they landed. They've been here for, God, looks of it, from what I was shown, from the people's clothing alone and the villages that I had to track, Because I don't know where Amy is, and I don't know where Robert is right now, because those are usually my two mods. So Parrot, tonight you it, my dear. Um, so yeah, it just becomes fascinating to me how long they've been here. They went underground. They got out of the villages, the three main villages that they were in. 57, dear. I just got asked how old I am. Um, Born in 68. So my point is that there are ETs. They are still here. These ETs chose, I was going to talk about the process, but essentially what took place is that within the three villages, they came together. They said, after 30 years, we need to find a new home and not be in with the villagers, because the villagers are recognizing that we don't age. And they then individually within their own villages um, started spanning out and started trying to span the area and check out the area to find a secluded place. They did find one. They found a they they found an island, a rather small but large island, off the coast of Ireland. Now, when I started doing research into this, after I came out of all of this information, out of this lucid dream and this psychic connection that I had, I mean, they had such a psychic connection to me that when I tried to pull out of the lucid dream, I couldn't. I basically got stayed. I got stuck. And they wanted me to see everything. And it was incredible. And it's only, what I was going to say earlier was that it's only recently for me, like in the last week, last 7 to 9 days or so, that I actually found out who they were, or think who they are. They're either some form of Pleiadian, or known as the real tall whites, because these, and I don't think I've ever described their I've described their body before, and their clothing, and how they went from their clothing from being on board their own ship to trying to acclimate into village lifestyle and village community, and that kind of thing. Sorry, also dealing with back injury. So it was real fascinating. So here they are. They're on Earth. When I started doing the research, I found that, to my surprise, I found out that in the 1800s, map makers talked about a hidden, or an quote unquote invisible island. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And it was classified as myth. So, in the looking up of this, it was about every 100 years or so, every 50s to 75 to 100 years, thereabouts, that this island would show up. Well, basically, as I have understood it, this group, when they finally found their location and finally chose to take a look at really the island and the area, they figured out how they could really do this. And so they eventually said goodbye to all of the villagers out of the three villages. They went, okay, somebody's somebody, a spirit saying, "Great story time, Nikki," and I'm like, "Yeah, for some, for others, they're too religious to get it." So, because everything is so, I get a lot of shit for this, and that's fine. I've had a lot of I've had a lot of shit from a lot of people, including family members. So I mean, that's all right. It's life. But there's only so much I will take of it. Okay. Um. So basically, uh, they went on and showed me that they said goodbye to the villagers. They went off in what I can only classify as canoes. I don't know what the hell to call these wooden boats. They're like dugouts of trees, but yet they're not. And I was like, uh, so they went off and said their goodbyes. They had partied. The villagers, different villages had parties for them to say their goodbyes, and they went off. Um, Different sections, different times, and that is how they got away from the humans. They got onto the island and eventually dug down. They went underground, and as far as I know, based on what I was shown, they dug tunnels all the way, or did something. Um, did yeah, okay. Did something to where, thank you, Para. They ended up going all the way from their island all the way to the mainland, beyond Ireland, beyond the UK. I don't know where all. I'm assuming it went as far as Europe, rest of Europe, but I don't have any idea. That's just what I was shown, and that's where it stopped, where the imagery stopped. That's where things ended up taking place with it. I don't know how else to describe that. Um, and I basically got told, "Thank you for coming." I was like, "You're the ones who brought me here. What the heck?" Um, and it went from that to, "We would like to see you sometime. You have free access." And I was like, "What? What did you just?" So I have, whenever I'm in a specific area, I have been told that, and it's probably going to be when my old age, um, probably in my 80s or 90s, at some point, the way my life is going right now, uh, that I'll eventually get over to the Ireland area. I'm hoping it'll be a lot sooner than that. And I'll be able to go. And I've actually had one friend who's like, "Oh, you've got to take me with you." And I'm like, I have no idea what they will allow and what they won't allow. That is totally up to them. But it was really fascinating to me for them to show me, excuse me, that they went underground, and the fact that I could track it. I could actually track it. Um it was truly amazing to me that I was able to track it a little bit through history in the 1700s, 1800s, really in the 1800s, and only once, I believe, in the early 1900s. So it was like 3 or 4 times in map makers. And I don't remember the name of the island right now. But if you Google search or use a different search engine and search for uh, hidden island and map, the word map, and Ireland, off the coast of Ireland, you might find the name of it. But it really it fascinated me no end. Well, so they're telling me that they're on Earth, that that's where that's where they've chosen to stay. Um, and I also got shown that as they were digging, as they were removing subsections of Earth to create tunnel systems, they also showed me that they created and built technology, their technology, to keep the island hidden. So it wasn't coming up on any of our radar. That's current technology. Oh, hello. Hang on one second. I just found this. Um, interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, dear. Um, so, uh, yeah, it's been an enlightening experience being an ET abductee and learning these things. Now, do I know that there are other ETs on Earth? Yes, I do, because I know people that have had the documentation, have the photographic evidence, but they will not come out publicly with it. And there are reasons, for safety and security reasons for that. And their life, they don't want to be unalived. Gee, I can't say as I blame them. Yeah, they're actual, and the people, I'm amazed. I'm utterly amazed. So, uh, well, the interesting thing is about 3 years ago. It's about 3 years ago. Since it's 2022. Yeah, that's be about right. I was psychically shown a situation where there's going to be an unearthing of certain tunnels. And oh, this is getting interesting. Um, and the unearthing of those tunnels is going to bring about, I mean, it's going to be big news. It's going to make global news. So we'll see how all of that, all of that comes into play. If it comes into play, if timelines have shifted where things take place to where that doesn't happen. But I was shown that it's going to happen in a number of different factions, a number of different ways. And part of it was being brought about because of the heavy fracking that's going on this planet. So uh, it makes things very difficult. Um, as an abductee, it makes you wonder how much further into our, I was going to call it future, but not really, into our current situation and beyond, is it going to take place to where things are really going to come out, because they are supposed to come out. The ETs, I mean, it's a collective thing that's been talked about for a long time, that at certain times in our history and in certain locations, things are going to be shown, and we'll see it. Whether that takes place or not, um, yeah, we'll see. We'll just kind of like a waiting game. Uh, I was shown and told psychically, both told by the ETs and shown psychically, that we had the beginning of it was really going to start in 2022, into 2020, end of 2022 into 2023, and then in 2025 something big, then 2026, 2027 was a major 2025 and 2027 and 2029. Those were the big numbers that I was psychically given. I was also, sorry, I've had itchy skin again today. It's driving me nuts, and it's like, I want to scratch. So, oh, sorry. We'll just have to wait and see. At the same time, just because they talk to us as an abductee doesn't mean, and they tell us these things, doesn't mean that those things don't change. I mean, life happens for them too. So, courts, I was going to call them courts. Councils, they have their own councils. So you have to take that into consideration too, especially if they're with the consortium. What I know is the consortium, everybody else knows as the Galactic Federation of Light or something like that. Or the Galactic Federation or something. Anyway, I know it as the consortium. So, what else? So there are different races. Supposedly there's a private sector in Australia or New Zealand, somewhere in that area, where there's ETs, created their own structures, did their own things. So there are ETs on this planet, whether we want to agree with that or not, or choose whether to believe it or not. And there's always different distractions fabricated to keep us from seeing what's really happening. Yes, there is. I fully agree with that, Angelica. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, we live our lives, our daily lives, and how do we want to go about what do we choose to believe? Go with your gut instinct. But also keep in mind about our own religious sector throughout the planet, because there are so many different forms of religion, and all of that comes into play. And I find it interesting how there's only really one person that I personally know who has more information on the ETs. He remembers more of it, of his lifetime, of his experience with them. And you want to get somebody, you want to really listen. That person, their name is R. Keith Andrews. I highly recommend going and looking him up on YouTube. It's literally R period and then the name Keith, Keith, and then the last name of Andrews. And he does a lot of communication about positivity and changing one's life, and I fully wholeheartly agree with that, because it's about building and making changes in one's life and working that out. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not seeing some of things in chat. Let's see if I can call this up on my other device. I've got the device that's up right now, but I've also got another device I'm watching on, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, this is interesting. Very. I bet I need it on a bigger screen. Anyway, point being, yeah, they're here. They've been here for a long time. As I understood it in 2022, they've been here for over 1,000 years. I mean, it was the people. I mean, I tracked the people in that village all the way back before Not Icelanders. What the hell are they called? Nordics. All the way back before like Ericsson and uh, the Norwegian. I cannot think of Vikings. Thank you, Dad. Um, so yeah, whoops, I hit a button. Sure, try that one again, shall we? Um, so do your own research. If you're into ufology or are curious, there's a number of really good shows out there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tony. So let's see if we can do this while I'm still on camera. Haha. Hang on. We'll see how this goes. Anyhow, that's basically what I wanted to talk about tonight. I figured I wouldn't be on for very much more than an hour, if that. If you have questions, and I had a plethora of questions last week when I talked. Oh God, I don't remember it right now. Got a brain fart going. One moment, please. Anyhow. Oh, there we go. All right. So basically, ET abductee, ask me what you want to ask me. Oh, whoops. I did that wrong. Oh, let's see if that works. Anyway, yeah, I didn't think I wrote that right. Didn't think I wrote that right at all. Let's try this again. Oh, well, yeah, that might have something to do with it. Okay. Now let's try it. Hoping that works. Yes, it worked. Okay. Always good when you find something that works. Gosh. So last week I had a lot of questions from folks. Para was one of them. All about different kinds of ETs. These I honestly if it had not have been for see, I'm not even seeing that. So that's not showing up on mine. How interesting. I'm glad. Thank you, Para, for dealing with that. Anyway, so I've been abducted by what I used to call tall whites. I mean, but I don't know what else to call them. They are tall skin. They're 6 foot. No, excuse me. They're not 6. Oh my God. Sorry. That's memory issue. Sorry. They're 7 feet tall. They look like the grays do. Long, spindly bodies, thin, super thin arms, super thin legs. They literally have the black over the eyes. They pull that out. It's like a contact lens, and then their eyes are blue. At least the ones that I've dealt with, they're blue. I have seen others where they've been like almost like a smoky gray brown, but not quite. It's more gray than it is brown. I don't know what else to call that. But I've not seen those on the ET ship that I'm collected by. I've seen those mostly with, gotta be careful. Just all of a sudden had this intense sense to be very careful. And I don't know why, because I've talked about this a lot. So I don't know what the hell that's all about. But anyway, point is I've seen those other ones, the smoky gray brown eye color. Those are on the what I would classify as the tall whites, but they're the ones that work with the humans. Um, don't do it. That's my opinion, Leo. um, yeah, uh, depends on how well you are with your own. Okay, so this is in response to Leo. Depends on how well you are with your own energy and abilities. But I would not recommend. 10 out of 10, not recommend. How's that for a response? Um, so yeah, I mean these ETs on real ships, on real ET ships versus human built ET ships. Human built, the metal is not alive. On a real ET ship, the metal is living. It's consciousness. Um, and it can be wild, really wild. Uh, so makes life interesting, doesn't it? If you have a conscious living metal ship, um, oh, I know there is, Leo. Okay, so Leo just asked a question. Do you believe that there is life on Mars? I know there is. I'm also part of the global, or I was once, not anymore. After my 2008 back injury, they stopped using me because I slowed my brain down so that I could deal with the pain. And they didn't like the fact that I slowed my brain down deliberately. It pissed them off. And I went, well, F you. Um, but yeah, I'm part of global government, specifically the U.S. government, who has their secret space program. I don't know what else to call it. Well, there is another name for it. I just don't remember what it's called. Um, oh, off, off. Go away. That's not supposed to be there. So that's why I know there is. There's in the not quite the core. I was gonna say in the core of Mars, but that's not exactly accurate. Anyway, there's cities in Mars. Um, in the it's almost like an inner sanctum, but anyway, there's cities in the core, and there's flight tunnels going in and out of it. And yeah, I used to be a pilot. Have memories of a lot of that. I don't have a lot of memory. I have a lot. Well, okay, it depends on your take. I have a lot of memories, but at the same time, when you put me with other people who remember what's called SSP, they have a lot more of their memories, whereas I'm still in the process of regaining mine, so to speak. I've not done hypnosis regression. I think that's fine for everybody else. I have not done it personally for me. There are reasons. I'm not getting into all those reasons this time around. You can go back through my 4-hour video from last week. I'm not doing 4 hours tonight. Um, and I do write up a summary, so you will be able to see, you'll be able to look for it when SSP is talked about. Oh, that's what that means, secret space program. I will not publicly give 3 names of military officers that I knew of, was under their command. They are long retired. I was about to title, and I can't do that. For legal reasons, in order for me to protect myself, as much as I want to name names, it is way too effing dangerous to my life if I name those names. And legally, they could come after me for it. As could the government, but individually, they could come back at me. Do other people know their names? Yes, they do. I've had full on, I can give you first name, middle name, last name, their rank at the time, including the nicknames that we used to call them. And it was pretty intense. And it's also because of one of them. Yeah, thank you, Angelica. She says, as a hypnotherapist, I agree with your decision not to do it. Yeah, and you know the reasons why. I mean, it's a really big deal. Also, I have memories that are calling up on their own. I have an eidetic memory, granted at 57, and with all the crap I've experienced in my life, my perfect eidetic memory, and it was perfect eidetic memory as a child all the way up until, God, all the way, well, before the back injury, actually. And after the back injury, it was a different ballgame because I was dealing with so much pain and had to deal differently with my mind and type A personality, and I was just constantly go do and get things done kind of person, and had to deal very differently with my brain because of the kind of pain I was in. It was not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And to go from a person to where I was thinking anywhere from 7 to 9 things in the back of my brain while having of projects, 7 to 9 projects, working on them at the same time as having a perfectly logical conversation with somebody, very interactive conversation, and going from that to having to completely slow down. So being in SSP, they got really pissed off. Well, couldn't exactly help the back injury, so, hey, it's life. It's not as bad as last week, that's good. Oh, get the popping and squeaking of the chair. So I do apologize for that. Anyway, so regarding ETs and stuff, it's just been a mind bender. I've had a hell of a time wrapping my head around all of this. It's been very difficult. I thank God for counseling early on and dealing with a lot of the crap that I dealt with in childhood through all of it. My mom has remembered some of hers. Yeah, that's okay. I need to read chat here a second. Leo, why are they hiding it from us? Why don't they just tell us that there is life on Mars? I don't understand what the big deal is. It's about control. It all boils down to control and keeping things as secretive, controlling the narrative. It's about as much money as they can make. It's also about security. A lot of government, a lot of global governments are involved. It's not just the US government. There were a lot of military uniforms that I saw, different countries' uniforms that I saw, that I look at now and I'm like, holy shit, that is a uh, uniform that I recognized from 2022, or 2023 for that matter, and 2024. Wow. Okay. Um, so there's a lot to it. It has to do with control. It completely has to do with control. Not just control of money and the narrative, but it's also who has control over conglomerate and government militarized type weapons. That's what I mean. You're talking some very serious stuff. Things that can protect this planet. Things that I have seen. I've seen ET weapons. I've held ET weapons. They shoot what I can only classify as a blue energy. And it can instantaneously unalive a being when it's been shot at at the being. It's very eye-opening. I will call it eye-opening. Hell of a shock. No pun intended, because I don't remember what it does. I just remember that it unalives. So let's continue on with the reading of yes, and Paris says at Leo, some of us believe we've already been there, and the government, is trying to catch up the general public to that fact. Yeah, in a lot of ways. Leo, why are they hiding? So Para is asking Angelica, do you do regressions like she's referring to? Para at Leo, I suspect it has to do with the quote unquote Brookings report, end quote, from the early 60s, 1962. I think the government thinks society will fall apart. Para goes on and says, but we're not the same people, society that we were 60 years ago. Leo is asking, how did they discover that there is life on Mars? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that Mars is so Mars has had a population on it for a lot longer than, I mean, we're taught the cities, I should say, but I remember it as one gigantic city subsectioned out. And in different, almost like different flavors. I mean, it's different. I don't know how to describe it. I remember points. I remember like building points. Spire, 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 yeah, Spire. Um, like spire points to these buildings. Very sharp, peaked, and some of it reminds me of glass, but not glass. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the material is, but when you're underground, it's very much cement-like. Sorry, I'm getting itchy again. I'm trying really hard not to scratch. Okay, I guess we're gonna. Whoops! Please don't bonk the camera. I guess we're gonna try some hand lotion, see if that works, because this is just bugging the crap out of me. So basically, whoops, need a little bit more. So you got the inside of Mars, and with the inside of Mars, you've got so many different kinds of ETs on that, in that, not on. Well, yeah, it's actually they're on and they're in. there's different levels coming and going as a pilot. You wear different uniforms when you're out on the surface. You can go on the surface, but you have to be geared up completely. And the masks, they are really close to the face. They come down and then they come underneath, and then it closes down. I don't know if it makes any sense whatsoever, but that's how I remember it. And skin tight, everything being skin tight. That's what I remember. No, it's both. Angelica, they use the control to their advantage, so most won't believe the truth if it slaps them. Excuse me, if it slaps you in the face. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, Angelica. Angelica, yes, I do. Okay. Leo, that is pretty scary and creepy. Yeah, it really can be. But here's the thing, a lot of the ETs in Mars, I keep saying on, but I mean in, um, they're very nice. There's many of the races are of ET. They're very nice. Um, and we have our own. Oh, here's something. We have our own commissary. The United States military has its own commissary in Mars, and I remember Hershey's being there and Nabisco in like the what I can only classify as vending machines. I don't know what the hell else to call them. Or um, you can buy them in the, I was just gonna say canteen. Wow, that's not a word that comes out of my mouth very often. Um, that's not what I meant. Anyway, in the commissary, and so you can buy, but I mean they've got the different things from home, well, home world. Um, and I used to be known as the lady who gave out little Hershey's Kisses to those who were going through a difficult time, because I was a pilot. I used to carry like little. I was about to use a word. That would have been a bad word, especially now with all the trail shit going on. Anyway, I used to carry a little bag and would have the chocolates in them, because that was one of the things that I found when you're off planet, you're completely off planet, you need something from, you're horribly traumatized for whatever reason, or you're injured and you can't focus, and you're just an emotional basket case. And what I found was that, and this is a memory that I'm like, I've been told this by other people I've who've seen me, who recognize me from when I was in my 30s and 40s, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the chocolate lady." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And they're like, "You're the pilot. You saved my life, or you did this, or you did that, you got us out," or, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember that. I remember the chocolate. I remember the little things of chocolate and having my hand, and I had at one time I had a blue, not a blue hand, a blue glove on my hand, very super thin blue glove on my hand. And I remember having a little Hershey's Kiss in my hand, and I know that I was going to hand it to somebody. Not a clue who, but that's my memory. And that's how I know that they're telling me the truth. It's more than just that. I have had other memories. That's the only one that I'm going to talk about where I've actually handed out, but I remember having a little bag attached to my uniform so that whenever somebody got whatever had happened to them, they had a little piece of home. That was their home. That because the chocolate, oh my God, there is no chocolate. There are many different forms of delicacies on Mars, but there was no chocolate. And that was the one thing that I learned, and that is still mind bending to me, that a little Hershey's, not a kiss, but a little Hershey's mini chocolate bar, it was their representation of home, and it was their saving grace in many aspects. Um, there's a person that I know who used to ride with me. He would be in the back while I was piloting this vehicle that I can only classify as a souped up helicopter. That's unlike anything we've got here, or at least I just recently saw, like in the last 2-3 months, recently saw images, and I don't even know. I think would have some of that, um, but saw images that resemble something even mildly close to the flight vehicles. Yes, that's not weird. Okay? That's an excellent question. It truly is. Uh, Here's okay. So Leo. Okay, this is why I haven't pronounced your last name, because I'll slaughter it and I don't mean to. So I'm not saying your last name, dear, but it's Leo with an A. Okay. I know this, and this is what they're asking. I know this question is going to sound weird, but can you actually be abducted by an alien? Yes, you can. Usually, if you're abducted once, it's quite likely you're there. There are the one-offs, but if you're abducted once, you're likely an abductee. There's different words that have different meanings. So, like abductee is usually has the negative connotation to that word. Contactee has a more of a positive connotation to that word. A tone, I suppose, is what you would say to the word. So, uh, it just, and I'm both. I'm both a contactee and an abductee because I've had both good and bad experiences. Um, the ones that do most of the abductions, though, they're okay. So here's something popped into my head. I don't think I've talked about this in a while. Um, you can be abducted by what look like the same race, but they aren't necessarily working for the same group of ETs or same group of people. Um, so that is something to take into consideration. So here's something. When I am taken by the ETs, basically since birth, the ones that actually come and get me, they look exactly like the ones that come and get me uh, for SSP that work with government. The physical body is the same. The difference, when they remove the sleeve, the contact over their eye is going to be blue. Those are the good ones, versus the other ones removed. The eye is going to be a like a gray brown, like a smoky gray, like almost like a smoky quartz gray color. Um, Not a clue. Leo's just asked an excellent question, one that I've wanted an answer to for a very long time. Who were the ETs created? How? Excuse me. I misread that. How were the ETs created? Not a clue. I know that they've been alive for thousands of years, millennia for some of them, many millennia for some of them. How were they? Not a clue. I don't have that kind of an answer. I wish I did. There's a bunch of things I wish I had answers for. I'm just letting you know what I know, and if, that's the other thing. If I don't know it, I'll tell you flat out if I don't know it. I'm not gonna pretend I do when I don't. That's bullshit. I don't want to be spewing out bull. No. If I don't know something, I'll tell you flat out I don't know it. Okay, so there are so many. Here's the thing about. Okay, so Leo's just asked. Blah, blah, try this again. Leo. Oh my God. Sorry. Leo. Oh my God, I did it again. Leo. There we go. Has asked another really good question. Unfortunately, I don't. Well, okay. Part of it I do know, part of it I don't. There are there's so many different races and species of extraterrestrial slash alien out there. Okay, that's the thing. Now, some, such as the 3-foot tall grays, not all 3-foot tall grays are like this, okay? There are some that are biological, and then there are some that are clone biological. Okay? Then, from what I've been told and from what others have seen, they have witnessed the biological mechanical. That's what I know. I've seen the clones, and I've seen the biologicals. I've seen, I think, probably every. Well, I can't say that. That would be a lie. I have seen a big portion of different sized gray, what we would classify as gray extraterrestrial. I've seen quite a few different types, all different levels, from the 3-foot to the 7-foot. They're not all the same race. They're not even all the same species. Figure that one out. Who's doing it? Not a clue. I could make some educated guesses, but I not a clue if they'd be right. Yes, Angelica, they all have distinct features that help distinguish what type of energy they originate from. Yes, they do. Excellent point. Thank you for actually saying that, because I wanted to bring that up earlier and I completely forgot about it. So, the 7-foot tall, what I call the tall whites, they're not the tall whites, but I just don't know what else to call them. They're a tall white gray, is what they are. They're a 7-foot tall version of a gray, but their skin is so pasty gray that even 3 feet away from them, they look like they're white. I mean, like stark white. Well, used, but you get the idea. White. Okay. But it's because their skin is so pasty gray that, I mean, from a long distance, long distance, brain was trying to put those two words in conjoining them. Anyway, and I'm tired, so that has a lot to do with why my words are getting goofed up tonight, so I do apologize. Point being, you see them from 5 feet away, 40 feet away, and you're going, why are they white? Why they look just like a gray? Why are they? Well, these that abduct me, they're bald. They've got the oval face, big head, great big almond eye, big almond eyes. Completely different group of ET. The ones that do the abductions for government versus the ones who do the abductions for the consortium, for hybridization, for whatever other program they've put the human into. And there are other programs. I just don't know. If I know it, I don't remember it. That's how I need to start saying it. If I know it, I don't remember it right now. And quite honestly, there are things that I do want to remember. I'm choosing for my own safety's sake. And because I've psychically seen that I'm supposed to be talking in front of a group of authorities. I don't know when that is. I no timeline on that. I just know that it's supposed to take place and that I'm supposed to be, I was going to say sitting and standing, talking in front of government authorities. And I already know what's going to happen. Oh my God, I've had so many psychic images of it happening. So it'll happen. And if it happens, they will. What I've learned legally is that attorneys can throw out anything that has to do with whatchamacallit memories, memories that are obtained via hypnosis, because it's too easy to implant under hypnosis. It's too easy to implant false memories or give an idea and unexpectedly pass along an idea, and the person that's under hypnosis can take that and run with it. And so it's a form of leading, and so they can completely throw out, this is what I've been told by a professional, they can completely throw out the entire testimony. So since I've been psychically shown that I'm going to be in front of, why would I want my entire testimony to be thrown out? I don't have anything to gain by this. I don't make any money off of this. I get ridiculed, chastised, belittled, gaslit, you name it, I've had it. I've experienced it. I've had the stalking. I've had the whatever. Been there, gone through it. Got nothing else to say about it. I mean, I'm choosing not to. Yes, thank you, Angelica. Not only that, sometimes it can be traumatic. Yeah, I have very traumatic memories, and some of it's been really difficult. I have a memory of 8 years old being electrocuted by a military officer. 8 years old. Do I know who that officer is? No, because the memory is so traumatic. I do everything that I can just to, well, pretty much stay conscious and stay awake. I don't know how else to say that. Because it traumatizes me so much, and then the anger kicks in. Then the adult kicks in, and the anger kicks in, and you don't want me hitting rage point. So yeah, it's I get it. Do I believe in Bigfoot? Yes, I do. Yeah, yes, I do. I've been intermediary for Bigfoot at different times. Um, relay person, telepathic, mind speak, whatever the hell you want to call it. Anyway, I call it telepathic, but yeah, I'm been told welcome home by a certain Sasquatch clan in Washington State, and I was like, what? What do you mean welcome home? I'm like, what the are you talking about? And they're like, you used to be one of us. You're part of our clan. I went, what? No. What? I mean, it literally, the people I were with were like, are you okay? I'm like, no, not okay. Mind speak right now. Not okay. And they're like, oh my God. So yeah, I remember these stories. Do you see? Yeah, we've known each other a long time. So yeah, I mean, well, he asked, so or she. I'm not picking up energy right now, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But yeah, I it's been a long time since I've talked about that one. But yeah, I've done a lot of energy work. I've done a lot of telepathic work with different people, different beings. Beings, beings, not beans. The kind of beans you eat. No, beings. Um, So yeah, it's just do I believe in Bigfoot? Yes, I do. Periodically, Bigfoot will open a portal in my home and come and check on me. That's always fun. You got a nice, toasty, warm home. You're comfy, cozy, all curled up in your chair, your couch, or whatever. And the next thing you feel is a large gust of ice cold wind from the mountains, and you're smelling pine boughs, and you're like, what the hell? And then you're feeling the energy, and it's like, whoa. And then you're smelling them. Oh, I finally told I finally told one of them, I'm like, honey, you need to wash your bottom because that's all I smell. I'm like, if you're coming into my home and I can smell you, honey, take a bath. Please, for God's sake, take a bath. Because it very stinky. I can deal with the dog smell, the dry fur dog smell. I can deal with wet dog smell. I can deal with. They didn't allow him back into my home. I'm so thankful. Very nice Sasquatch, but they didn't allow him back home when I said that. I'm like, they gotta have. And it's funny because the next one after that, he was clean. Just had a bath, dried off in his little cave, hunkered down in pine boughs. How do I know pine boughs? Because I could smell it on his fur, hair, fur, whatever the hell you want to call it. Anyway, I could smell it. And I was like, oh, come into my home anytime. That was awesome. Because it smelled like a Christmas tree at the time. And I didn't have a Christmas tree that year. So, how do you feel about being a psychic? Does it scare you? It doesn't scare me. Um, it annoys the heck out of me sometimes. It's just part of, but it's been this way all my life. I mean, um, I've been able to see spirits. Well, up until I was 7 years old, I was able to see full on spirits like they were fleshies, like just like you and me. And when I had an ET experience at 7 years old, I got so frightened. Uh, sorry, I'm about ready to burp and trying to find something that I can, excuse me, do that with. Pardon me. Anyway, so point is that ET experience, I was so frightened at 7 years old that I shut down the ability to be able to fully visually see spirits. And because this one ET, she just I mean, it freaked me. Even though I asked and I begged and I pleaded for her to show herself, and when she did, I lost my ever loving little kid, 7-year-old freaking mind. And it traumatized me. It traumatized me seeing this. Uh, oh God, I have it stuck in my head as 7 feet tall, but I think she was closer to 8 or 9. This ET, and kind of reptilian-ish with veins, uh, blue-black veins, more black than blue. Red. Hey, Sandra. So I mean, it's just really, it's good to see you, dear. It was kind of a difficult thing, to say the least. It truly, oh, there goes the nose. It truly traumatized me. So I wasn't able to, pardon me. Oh, good grief. Sorry, me. Sorry, guys. I hate doing that on camera. Absolutely hate that. I do apologize. My sincere, heartfelt apology. Anyway, so I stopped that ability. Unbeknownst to me, I stopped that ability. And I was just too traumatized by this ET. And what I've since realized, it's because she was on my home. Okay, okay, good. Yeah, you two would have a lot of conversations, which is good. I think that's a good thing for the two of you. Anyway, so I still can see, but I see them psychically, via my psychic eye. Oh, that's the other thing. When I've got hybrid children. Um, some of my hybrid children and some of the ET adults. I don't think I've talked about that. Anyway, they have a third eye, a physical third eye. It literally looks like it's part of a crease in their forehead, right up and through here. Literally looks like it's just part of a forehead crease. Now that I've goofed up my bangs. Anyway, and it opens. It actually opens, and it looks like their two eyes. Boy, when I first saw that, it freaked me out. And when I saw it on one of my hybrid kids, it I reacted. When I got home, I overreacted. I kind of lost it. I wasn't okay about it. But at the time, I was like, oh. And then I was accepting, and I knew, I just automatically, it was like I instinctively knew. But I find it interesting because not all ETs have that third eye. Not all hybrid children have that third eye. It only comes out at very specific times. And wow, it was a mind bender to me. I mean, it flipped me out. Almost flipped me out as bad as the ET with the flaps. That was how she breathed. She had flaps on the side of her head. But I remember thinking how absolutely beautiful she was. And I remember her hearing me think that. And I remember saying, "I'm so sorry," because I didn't verbalize it. And telepathic thought was, it's like taboo. It's a big offense. Thinking, self-talk, Self-talk is a real offense to a lot of the ETs, because not all ETs are telepathic, but the ones that are, holy cripes, it is very offensive to them, because they can hear everything, because humans are so much inexperienced, unadvanced with their consciousness. And that's the one thing every one of them, including the nasty buggers, all want us to have is a form, well, okay, even the nasty buggers, they want a form of higher consciousness, better, but better to control. The other ETs, they want us to be more aware and more alert and more awake. Woke is not what they would ever call it by any stretch. I'm not even sure what they would call it. But consciousness, they want us much more advanced in consciousness. Something about tellers. Just a second. Leo, your opinion on fortune tellers? Well, that's a term that could easily apply to me. The term fortune teller has gotten an extremely bad rap over centuries. Or 2 centuries. Depending upon how far back you want to go. And I swear to God, I'm going to sneeze. No. That. Nope. Oh, we're hitting on all levels tonight, aren't we? Oh, isn't this fun? Sorry, I'm getting a TP ready just in case. Yeah, watch your ears. Hopefully, no, I shouldn't be doing it too loud. Anyway. Fortune tellers, that's where we were at. There's a difference between fortune tellers because to me fortune tellers are scammers. But then I know psychics that there are some really not very nice people that are psychics. And then I've known absolutely wonderful, loving, caring people who are psychics. So you get a mix. The term fortune teller to me implies scammer. And yet when I see that on a title somewhere, I get very leery. I was going to say, am I considered a fortune teller by some people? Yeah. But am I lying? No. I don't. I tell it like it is. It is like it is for me because this is my life. This is what's happened to, oh my God. This is what has happened to me. Sorry. Since I didn't sneeze, my nose decided to run. So that's in response to Leo. I don't know what else to say on that. I know that, I could defend the practice of psychic mediumship. I'm not going to. I've had these experiences all my life. I used to be able, from the cradle, cradle, crib. Well, yeah, cradle first, then crib. Yeah, think about that a second. Anyway, from the cradle, I used to see spirits walk by. They look like full-fledged. And I remember some of them talking to my mom turning to look, but she never responded back. But it literally looked like when they were talking to her, or for that matter, my grandmother. I just remembered that. Hello. Grandma had a lady standing behind her. My mom did too at some point, but a different time frame. Anyway, depends on if it's crystal or not crystal. Oh, for F's sake. Quartz. God, I couldn't think of the word. Quartz crystal, very different ballgame. The glass balls, that's what I say to that. Look, I've walked up to a 3-foot tall smoky quartz crystal. 3-foot tall, huge, around 2 to 3 feet in diameter, short and squat. And this thing was from Atlantis. I walked up to it, and the woman who owned it, she said, "Be very careful because it's raw." And I instantly knew. And she said, "It's gonna cut like razor blades, so be very, very careful where you place your hands." Because she knew I was gonna touch it. The second I touched it, I saw her, I saw me, I saw one of the well, technically there were 3 lifetimes that we shared together, but I saw 2 lifetimes that we shared. It wasn't until much later that I saw the 3rd one, but that's long. Anyway, we had 2 lifetimes in Atlantis together, and one in Egypt. I can't think of the name of the country. And I was shown Atlantis. And I was shown. Now, some people could say, "Oh, that's her projecting and she was putting her own energy." No. I've walked. Oh, I don't have any of my, well, other than this, I don't have any of my gemstones around me at the second, but well, I do, but not the ones I want. So if you're dealing with crystal, where Atlantis was? Were you shown where it was? You mean Atlantis? Oh, I'm not getting into that one tonight. We'll have a private conversation, Para. I've said what I've said about Atlantis and the location. I'm not going, and I'm not getting back into that one publicly. It causes all kinds of problems. Oh, a lot of problems. Oh, God. Anyway, but the lifetime, the lifetimes that I had with her, both times she was well, in one of them she was a priest, and in another one she was a priestess. Yeah, but I can tell you what made it go down. Won't be rating it or anything. I can barely swim. Oh, sweetie. No, it's not. Oh, not that. It's Anyway, what made it go down was a combination of some events. Oh, that's a subject I didn't expect to talk about tonight, Para. Dude, seriously. Okay, so as I know it, excuse me, and I know from a scientist that I knew at the time, or knew. I don't remember him per se there because of what my job was. But and I've talked about this one more than a time or two. Anyway, it's always the same information I say. Basically, it went down because of a series of events. There's an individual that I know was a scientist, knows information about what happened. It was stated to where there were issues amongst the science community, let's put it that way. Somebody chose to do something that they had agreed was not going to be done for safety's sake. Somebody went upon themselves, did something. Instantaneous, catastrophic series of events started on the property. And in the process of that taking place with Atlantis, and Atlantis being the property, because of that catastrophic event, a cataclysmic series of events took place. And one of them, after that initial first rupture of burst of catastrophic magnitude, it triggered an earthquake and a gigantic tsunami. I mean, almost instantly. And that is really what that catastrophic event that triggered the earthquake and the tsunami is what took out Atlantis. Oh, wow, Sandra. The tide is super low tonight, like the harbor and inlets are mud. Oh, wow. That's a big deal. That makes me question what's going on Earth and the moon. Because I was about to say supposedly. Because the moon and tides. Very interesting. Thank you, Sandra, for the update. I appreciate it. Anyway, so because I was in the security department in Atlantis at the time it went down, I was that way I was in that position for a very, very, very long time. Very long time. And our main security issues were getting as many people off planet, off land first and foremost, off planet next. And we sent out not warning beacons, we sent out an emergency oh my god, I cannot remember the word. It's like an emergency beacon, emergency wave, and notification. Thank you. For God's sake, I hate it when my brain does that. We sent out an emergency notification, and that meant that anybody who was part of security for royalty and royal family were getting them off first. That was first and foremost priority, was the royalty, to get them off planet, off world. This might seem like another weird question, but can you see heaven? See heaven? No. Experience it at a different level? Yes. In higher consciousness, in extreme higher consciousness states, you can be taken to, now I know we're off the subject of Atlantis, I'll get back onto it in just a second, but I want to answer this. But in higher consciousness levels, you can actually go to a certain level, but you have to be allowed to go. You can get to certain levels via Astral, or via even the spirit realm and that kind of thing. But you have to be invited by a hierarchy to get to a certain level, a higher level. And I've only ever had that happen once with Jesus himself. When he was taking, I've got somebody that needs to see you, you need to meet, and I'm going to take you to a location where the two of you can have some private time. That's essentially what I was told. And Oh, it's way so much more than that. Um, uh, but see it in the sky? No. No, you don't see it in the sky. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. Is heaven like a galaxy? It's so much bigger than a galaxy. I don't even know how to express that. It's like anything you could ever imagine becomes applicable, becomes um love. It's love and light. It's pure. It's the purest form of love, and it's the purest form of light. um I don't know how else to explain that. uh but anything you think about that you want to be doing, it's okay. Somebody is, no, this is my dad. Okay, I'm being told to reference a movie. It's like the nexus in Star Trek. It's a movie quote. It's one of the Star Trek Next Generation movie quotes. It's one where you've got Picard, the character Picard, and the character Kirk coming together in the Nexus type of thing. Um, it's where you can have anything and everything that you want, and at any next turn, it can turn into something else with just a thought or a memory. It's so much, and the colors are much more vibrant than anything that we've got on Earth. There's even colors that we can't even quantify, can't even classify as colors, but you know they're colors. You just don't know what to call them. There is no name. Um, Exquisite, beautiful, pure love. Love like the love a person can't even, I can't even quantify it. I can't even, it's the most powerful um, feeling I have ever felt. And it is really overpowering and overwhelming. The sheer love uh, that comes from Jesus, the sheer, or from God Himself, or while you're even standing in a an area that is one level um, below that of heaven, and you're brought there because you're literally, you just found out your friend died, and they're there to say goodbye, and they're brought to you by Jesus Himself. And yeah, it was really, hey guy, it was really, really intense, awe-inspiring, mind-bending. Nothing, I mean, how do you describe that? I mean, how do you describe sheer love and beauty? I mean, anything that I've seen here on this planet doesn't, I mean, it just doesn't even compare. Um, no idea, but I'm sure they have. They got the CERN super collider, so, I mean, I'm sure people have tried. Angelica, when you help spirit cross over, you get to experience it in a sense. Yeah, that's one way to explain it. Angelica, I agree. It's you experience when you cross over a spirit or a group of spirits, you have no. You have when you cross over a group of spirits, you end up having this sensation because you're essentially intermediary between the spirit or group of spirits and God or Source Himself. And you'll see, usually, not always, some people see it, some people don't, um, the brightest white light open up. You can be sitting in a room of dark, and all of a sudden you're as a psychic, and you're having this conversation with a spirit or with a group of spirits, and all of a sudden your room lights up, and it's so intense. Don't have a clue. Seven like a star, no. How was God created? Not a clue. Not a clue, haven't been told, haven't been, not even by the ETs, haven't been, none of it. Not a clue. I just know that he's very real. I know he goes by a lot of different names. And I know that it's it's sheer love. It's so much love that it's overwhelming. There have been times where I've walked away from crossing one or two spirits or a group of spirits over, and I'm so inundated with the sensation of love that I can't even, it takes me a long time to come down from that. Because not only am I coming down as a human, I'm coming down as a psychic. I'm also coming down as a soul, and it's really intense. Yeah, I've got a lot of friends who are Catholic. I've got friends who are Catholic, who are Jewish, who Muslim, who Wicca. Uh, there's somebody that I know that's an atheist. Oh, well, supposedly I lost power again. But you had said that you're Catholic. I don't know where it shut off at. But it's obviously picked back up. Yeah, I've got friends who are Catholic, who are Jewish, who are Muslim, who are Wicca, who are even one friend who is an atheist. Who everybody has different beliefs. You've got different things. Yeah, Angelica is saying, I remember when you helped the girl cross over that bothered Haley. Just being a part of ouch left me in awe. Okay, come on. Wow, that's wicked. I'm getting a high pitch and it's hierarchies, and I hit a nerve on something. How was okay? So it's not the star; it's the how was God created. Well, that perked somebody else's ears up because I just got notified. Wow. Wonder what they're going to be telling me now. Um, sorry, my right side, my right ear, um, is usually the side that I have my mediumship stuff on, and it's also usually the side that I have the hierarchies and um, spirits and all of that, and the left side is usually the ET side. That's also fun. But yeah. So I fully expect if it's not, excuse me, I fully expect if it's not right now, then it'll be later on that I'll eventually have an answer for somebody on that. I don't know. Maybe if I get it written down fast enough, because there's a lot of this stuff that I'll make journal notes on, and you've got to keep a journal. You've got to. I mean, it's so important to write journal notes. Remember when you helped the girl cross over that bothered Haley? Just being a part of that left me in awe. Yeah, 17-year-old girl from the 1800s, and who was stuck on the property, and she was terrified, absolutely terrified to cross over. That left a mark on me too. I mean, I still think about her. My grandmother had to come and help her. Um, and God was very, I mean, he was very clear with me about Source. Source was very clear with me about how it had to go for her. And what I didn't, Angelica, I don't even know if I said this during that video call or not, but there was, and I only talked about it last week, that one time last week, there was a horse with her. I never told anybody that. Um, so, but the horse didn't follow her with, and I'm like, that just astounded me. Her fiance showed up. That was awesome. Um, oh, Para, good question. Earlier, we had a number of trolls who purported to be Christian. If you interacted with Jesus or God, did you come away with any ideas on what we are misunderstanding about God or our relationship with Him? I walked away from all the different times that I've worked with Him. I have walked away with sheer love, the most purest form of love I could ever fathom. It was so daunting, in fact, that I was absolutely dumbfounded the first couple of times. Then there was a time where, as Robert can tell you, I threw an adult temper tantrum and then a teenage temper tantrum because I was being asked to do something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to partake in because I didn't want to be the responsible party, and I knew that I would be the responsible party, and I got pissed. And that was really the only time that I threw a temper tantrum about what I was being asked to do. And there were reasons why I was the chosen person to be doing this stuff. I was not a happy camper over it by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and so other than that, um, that I'm starting to itch again. Just, um, so that's really, really what I walked away with from all of that. Did you ever see or talk to Jesus? Yes, I have. Um, Talked about that just a little bit ago. Um, and so we had a nice, beautiful, long walk up an inclined, what I can only classify as a higher consciousness. Man, that spot is bugging me. As a higher consciousness walk, and he was walking me up to that lower section of um, what I could only classify as heaven. Um, for me to say goodbye to my loved one, my friend who had died. I hadn't seen him in 6 months. I hadn't heard from him in 4 months, which was unusual. Um, and when I found out how he had died, when he had told me and he had kissed me goodbye and said thank you and I love you and bunch of other things, and I told him that I would pray for his kids, and that meant the world to him, so to speak. I don't know how else to say that. And I do periodically. I pray for those kids because they're without a father. Um, Father who very, very, very much loved them, loved those kids, and they were teenage kids, so really difficult. Any time is a difficult time to lose a caring um, parent or parental figure. So, um, have no problem with it. Half my family does it. Leo's asking your opinion on cremation. I have no issue with it. I'm not Catholic. Interesting thing about being Catholic, though, is that I have a dear friend of mine who used to be a sibling of mine in 3 lifetimes. This lifetime, we're not siblings, but in 3 lifetimes, um, he was a brother who was a priest, Catholic priest. Um, no, there's a difference, Para. That's a really excellent question, by the way. Um, okay, so Paramarv is asking question. The Christians referenced how the devil can be deceptive. Any chance you are meeting with Jesus or God was a deception and you were communing with quote unquote dark entities? No. Um, I wish they were here to hear the answer. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. No, actually, in fact, I came up against a true demon, a once a true demon, and the difference is that um, where you have absolute love and light and clarity and colors that are so vibrant and rich, and colors that we can't even quantify or even classify what color they are. Um, I had a true demon try to pull me in to a very dimly lit. Um, I personally, I do not know. That's a good question, Leo. I personally, I do not know. I would assume he can, but I don't know that. I don't know that from him. I don't know that from God. I don't know. I not a clue. I would assume he could. And if he couldn't, I would assume that he would with the help of a lot of hierarchies and God himself. But in answer to Paramarv's question, the difference is that I did get pulled in. He did try to pull me in. This demon, this true demon, tried to pull me into another dimension. He did pull me in. Drew me in fact. And I registered that the lighting was muted. It was like an everyday day, but it was the colors. It was like severely muted. There was no love. Everything was cold and indifferent, and there was no feeling. None. Um, and I was like, what the hell is this? And uh, eventually, this true demon had his hands around my throat. Um, and I was barely able, and I talked about this last time, I was barely able to speak words. And the next thing I knew, I said a phrase, very, very short phrase, but a phrase. And the look of absolute shock and awe, and then fear kicked in to him. And he let go, and he was just invisible. I mean, he was out of there. He wasn't just invisible. He was gone. Um, so the difference between the two, you've got extreme love and pure light versus everything of no feeling, no cold. You're physically warm, but you have an internalness of cold, dismal, dreary, drudgery. Um, Everything that is dark, but yet you have light in the sky. But the colors of the grass, of the houses, of the flowers, of the trees, of the sky, it's all severely muted. Severely muted. And you're like, who? It was like somebody put on a specific kind of sunglasses that came with an overall that tried to stuff me down, so to speak, and stuff my energy down. I don't know how else to describe it. But it was intense. And that's the difference. You've got the dismal, the dreary, the drudgery versus sheer love, pure, utmost, bright white. You don't ever want to leave it type of love because it is so pure. It's so overwhelmingly pure. God, dang it, that sleeve is just driving me nuts. There we go. You have the overwhelming purity of love, and you know that it's pure. And it overwhelms every aspect of you, and you can feel. It's like you can not just feel him, and I call him a him because that is the energy that hits me. I don't feel a female. I know that source is neither male or female. Um, don't ask me how I know that. That's an intuition type of thing, but I've always called source a he because that is what the energy feels to me. Um, uh, I'm not gonna read. Okay. Tells the fight is coming at some point. Maybe we'll find out. Yeah. Angelica, the energy is just incomparable. Yeah, I fully agree. Exorcisms? Yes, I do. For damn good reason. Um, for really good reason. I've known somebody who's been possessed. They had 33 demons on them. 33 wannabes and one true demon underneath. It was really what I would classify as insane. It was really rough. Really, really rough. I do believe in exorcisms, yes. Um, the negative, Angelica says, the negative energy imposes more to immobilize you. Yes, it most certainly does. I fully 100% agree with that, my dear. It's mind bending as to how it imposes more to immobilize. And they will use everything in your own memory. They will use everything that they know about your life. However, they've come to find the information, the negative energy will find a way to use it against you in your own, whether it's your own thinking or the whole kit and caboodle, however you want to word that. It's a mind bender. It really is. It's really hard to wrap your head around some of this information. And believe me, I get it. I totally get it. It's not an easy subject. Um, do you believe in vampires? Actually, I do. Um, weirdly enough. Here's the thing. I know somebody who says that vampires are a form of an ET. Think about that one. Yeah, Paramarv at Leo. Energy vampires or blood-sucking ones? Yeah, there are energy there are energy vampires out there. They literally will suck a person dry of energy. I mean, it's a different ballgame. They feed. And that can be a human being, or it can be just being around a certain house that has paranormal. God, I am tired. That has paranormal in it. I've seen creepy crawlies in the paranormal that would absolutely be mind-bending. I mean, I don't like being in hospitals because of it. My mom was in and out of the hospital a lot. And there were many times where, thank God I was staying there. I was in her room damn near 24/7. There were times where I was there 18 hours and home and slept a couple of hours and showered and changed and came back in the hospital. And there were many times where I saw things that I had to protect my mom from. Yeah, it was, and there was one where I was on a video call with, I think, like a group of somewhere between 12 and 15 of us at the time. And I was listening in, even though I was on video, and somebody had asked me to give an update. I gave an update onto my mom. And the next thing I know, there's this creepy crawl. The nurse had come in, said hello, did something with mom or checked on her something, and walked back out. And as the door was closing, this thing crawled right in. It did this slither like a snake, and then got up on legs like a centipede, and then crawled up the wall, and then onto the ceiling. And I went like, hell, I don't frickin' think so. I'm like, your ass is gonna be grass and you're gonna get the hell out of here. And people were like, what the hell is going on, Nikki? And I'm like, I got something here. I want you to watch this. And I put the phone up in a specific way. I don't know how much they actually saw of it, and or heard of it for that matter. And I ended up going after this thing, and I was like, you will not be in my mother's room. You will leave. You will not feed on my, because this thing was feeding on the bad health of the people. This thing was, and I mean, I saw a lot of shit in hospitals, and I'm talking paranormal, I'm not talking medical stuff, okay? And this was just pissed me off. I'm like, this is my mother. I'm like Pitbull on acid when it comes to family members. I'm like, no, and paranormal, no way. Nope. Mama Bear comes out. No way in hell you touching my family member. And I went into full-on hardcore protection mode, and they saw it. And they were like, whoa, that is some scary shit. And I was describing this thing as I was walking through the room, but I was doing it loud enough to where they could hear, but quiet enough to where I wasn't going to wake my mom. And yeah, that's well, that actually comes from that quote, Pitbull on acid pair, that quote actually comes from a friend of mine from the 1990s. That's what she used to call it. So that's where that thing comes from. But anyway, yeah, I was like, just don't, you just don't mess with me when it comes to paranormal and my family. I'm like, I will protect them. And I did, and I got this thing out, and um, I had help from surrounding, and it was pretty intense. Surrounding meaning other uh, souls. I had family members come in. I had deceased family members come in. I'm trying to remember everything. I remember there was an angel outside my mom's room at that point because I was like, "Oh, there ain't no way in hell nobody's touching my mom." Um, and I was like, "This is a different ballgame," and it was after that experience that when I started talking to because I wanted to know where this thing came from, I started the hunt, and I the following morning, after I'd had the room cleared for a number of hours, and actually I got the not just my mom's room, but the entire half of that wing completely locked down in the sense of no more paranormal. It's one thing to have loved ones come in and all the typical standard operating procedure type people, the spirits and the deceased family members and the spirit guides and the angels and the higher blah blah blah. All of that is normal and natural. But when you start dealing with paranormal and people in a hospital and these things feeding, no, 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 no. Not on my watch. No freaking way in hell will that take place. So I went, that's it. I'm done. I'm clearing this place. And I did. And had observers, as I call them, but essentially I had it's like a lower down angel just watching, and don't know what else to call. It's an angel. I just don't know what level. It was just I know it's a lower level angel, but an angel still in the hierarchy realms. Anyway, point being, following morning I started asking the nurses at the nurses station, what's going on? Is there any unusual things? And so we got to talking, and there were three of us. There were two nurses and me. And we got to talking, and they started talking about this one room at the far end of this ward's not the right word, wing. And lo and behold, here is uh, this room that they don't want to put anybody into because the electronics in that room are all janketied up and all really bad. Okay, I can move again. Really bad. And um they have a tendency to lose people out of that room, like death. And I'm like, and one of the nurses, I'll never forget this. One of the nurses said, I'm gonna have one of the other nurses who works that area come and talk to you. And she did, and she was like, yeah, we don't put people in that room unless we absolutely have to. It's too difficult. Um, and they'll bring in new equipment, they'll bring in whatever they need to, and it's still it and I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow, when you're back on, if you'll allow me, I know there's nobody in that room. And they did. They let me go down, but I couldn't get near the room. I kept getting blocked, and I was like, okay, so there's something in that room that's taking control of that room, paranormal wise. So yeah, things can take place in a hospital. Um, just mind bending stuff. So, but regarding back to the ETs and things, yeah, they are on Earth. Um, Many of them are all over the galaxy or other galaxies, FYI. Um, and our government, United States government, and global governments are heavily involved in a space program, and they don't want the public knowing about it, and they will do whatever they can at all costs to stop it from happening. So people that are ET abductees and um, experiencers of paranormal, just know you're not alone and keep coming out and keep talking. You have support people out here who do want to help in bringing about your stories and talking about it, and can put you in contact with different people to talk about it publicly if you want to talk about it publicly. There are ways to go about creating an ID. I know people that have created fictitious first and last names to keep their regular life private because of who they work for. Big companies who they work for, or very public um, people. How will I call that? But anyway, yeah, it's they don't want their real name out there because their bosses have actually told them, look, we don't want you affiliated. Use a fictitious name. We don't want you affiliated with our company. If you're doing this, we'll have to fire you. And so people create fictitious name in order to be able to be out and talking. And I know a number of people that have done that. It's not easy, and oh my god. Hang on a second. Hang on. Nope. I thought so. I could feel the energy, and then I was smelling them, and I'm like, it got really intense. It got right in my face. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So apparently I have somebody in Astral here. Anyway, anybody have any other questions? I'm trying to before I go, because 2 hours and 27 minutes, and I don't want to be doing a 4-hour show tonight. So broadcast, not show. It's 10:12 my time or thereabouts. No questions here. Hey Robert, you made it in. Anybody else? Good to see you, Robert. Any questions for this ET abductee? So yeah, if you go back in and you re-listen, no ma'am. Okay. Good to know. Thank you, Para. You go back in and you'll re-listen, you'll find that off of the trying to figure out how to say this, off the west coast of, I was going to say Australia, that's not where I meant, off the west coast of England, God, Nikki, Ireland, you will maybe find a quote-unquote hidden island. Yes, Angelica, I see it as having to choose your hard because staying silent can be detrimental. Shadow Miners. Hello, Shadow Miners. Yes, I remember you from last week. Leo, I have a question. Okay, what's your question, dear? What, pray tell, is your question? Like I said, I'm not doing a 4-hour, so I will wait just a little bit. Have you ever seen the Virgin Mary, or have you ever talked to her, Mr. Nor? Have you ever talked to her? Have I seen the Virgin Mary? No. Have you ever talked to her? Do you remember me? Shadow Miners. Yes, I remember you, Shadow Miners. Hi. It's funny you bring that up. I saw some It's funny that you bring that up. I saw some reel on Facebook that showed a globe from the 1950s that showed some mysterious island off the west coast of Australia. Really? Well, you never know. It's very possible there's another ET race that is there. How are you going today? How are you doing today? I'm tired, but I'm okay. I'm tired, but I'm okay. And the grand scheme of things, I mean, I'm having the pain that I'm normally in right now, but you know, hey, kind of how it is. I can try to find it and forward it to you. Oh, yes, please. I'd be very interested in that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I mean, I know what I've been psychically shown, that there's going to be a large section of land between Canada and the United States going to open up. It's going to open up tunnels, and it's going to bring forth certain ETs. I don't. In answer to that question. So, it's going to bring forth a lot more of, well, they're not ETs, they're terrestrials. They've been in Earth for a long, long time. And I know people that absolutely will debate with me on that there are ETs in subterranean Earth. I know a couple of people, in fact, and they're absolutely adamant that there's no way in hell. And I'm like, not from what I know. That is not what I know. So, inner Earth terrestrials, yeah, very pretty much. Um, do you think Jesus will return to Earth soon? No. No, I don't think it's going to be soon. Will he? Oh, I'm sure he will. But when? Not a clue. Angelica, in my astral travels as a child, I remember seeing wind turbines in space. Do you have an idea what relevance they have? I remember seeing wind turbines in space. In space? Well, to me, that would be an energy source. It depends on, do you have an idea what? Depends on what, so I can't fathom wind turbines in space. I wonder if those are some kind of satellite and not a form of energy creation. I wonder if those are some other planet's version of satellites. Actually, you and Robert should talk, because he he's seen a lot of he does a lot of astral travel, and when he does, there's some really fascinating things that he talks about. Some to my John. Hello, John. It's nice to see you. Welcome to my channel. Don't believe in psychic, believe in God. Yeah, I believe in God too. But I am a psychic. I am, it is what it is. Anyway, we went down that road at the very beginning of the broadcast. So, were they spinning at Angelica? Could they have been solar and just looked like turbines? See, that's what I'm wondering. It's a great question, Para. I kind of wonder the same thing, because in space, as far as I understand, there is no wind unless it's a form of a, I can't think of the I can't think of the word. I can't think of the scientific word at this second. I can't think of the word. It's not calling back up. I wish I could give you an answer. Wind solar collector. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I mean, Robert and Angelica, that really would be the two people that I would put together for that, to see what they come up with regarding it. They did sun and were white. They did. Oh, you mean some? They did sun and were white, huh? And collected earned from my gameplay and living stream. So well, that's good that you're happy about it, Shadow Miners. And I'm not picking up anything psychic on it, so not a clue. Okay. Spin. They did spin and they were white. Whoopsie doodle. Spin. They did spin. Wow. Now you've got me curious. I'll have to ask the other side, see if I can get a response. Yeah, because Robert's the one who took me through what what I originally thought were portals. They were portals, but they opened into like a vortex, a spinning vortex. And so he took me through seven jumps, through seven galaxies, to go see one of my hybrid kids. But in reality, there was no wind, space, and no oxygen. Why and how? Yeah, I mean, that's really what, as I understand it. I mean, even when I've been on board a ship, whether it's been a true ET ship that is completely conscious. The ship is actually, the metal is actually conscious. Well, it's not metal, but I don't know what else to call it. Versus an ET human ship, and that's a completely different ballgame. The ship is all metal, or the form of metal, whatever they're using for it. It feels metal to me. God, it feels like steel, and a lot of it feels like steel. Yeah, what does the black hole have anything to do with anything? Do I believe? Yeah, I believe in a black hole, yeah. Why do they have other planets but nobody don't know what's going on there? That's a control issue by the different global governments of the world, of this planet. Para, I wonder if they were spinning to create artificial gravity like our space stations supposedly would do. I've seen space stations. Anybody who has ever watched me watch a very specific newer version of Star Trek knows how bad I usually freak out over one specific set of scenes. Over that. Maybe they're specific to a planet. That's what I'm wondering, Angelica. That's exactly what I'm wondering. I think they're very specific to one group of beings, one group of entities. Well, they're not entities, but one group of people. Like we're human people on this planet. Well, whatever that group of ET is, I on that planet, I bet they're specific to that planet. But that's a science question. Not a clue for me. Never experienced that I'm aware of. Although I did, because of Robert, experience going through the ship that I'm normally abducted on, and it was orbiting outside. I was going to say parked, but that's what it reminds me of. It was parked outside of a planet. That's exactly what it reminded me of. Anyway, but it was orbiting outside of a planet, and we went through the ship and down to the planet, and I got to see my boy, one of my boys. Yeah, I not a clue. Oh, sorry guys. But I think that's, unless there's anything else, um it's time to go. 2 hours and 40 minutes. So um anybody else? Last questions. I'm trying to get this figured out to where I can just copy and paste my stuff. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So you'll probably see a bunch of test lives coming up in the next week or so, next 2 weeks, because I really want to make sure that I can record this way, but I've got to be able to have the description box all taken care of and all of that. So anyway, if there's no more questions, it's time to go, because did talk about ETs on planet. The ones that I know that are over by Ireland, I finally remembered the correct country name. There's some form of, I think, Pleiadian. But as far as I understood, I didn't think Pleiadians could be on Earth, because I thought they had problems with gravity or something, or get violently ill if they're out on our planet. But they're 6 to 6.5 feet tall. They look like a very tall, thin human, male and women. Um, the women were slightly shorter. The women were like 5'10" to 6'2", whereas the men were clearly defined, taller, 6 foot to 6'5". 6'6" would really be pushing it. Long blonde hair, really long blonde hair, almost to the point of it being white. And the interesting thing is that when they were on their island, it went more white, because that's what I was shown, because when they were on Ireland, with the different villages in Ireland, their hair was more blonde. And what I know is that some ETs, their hair is hollow. And some people have said, oh, that's like a polar bear. Polar bear have hollow hair. Well, yes. Now, although I didn't remember that, but yeah, that's very much what it's like. Their hair is, and so it can take in whatever color or nutritional need, or and it takes in those values. So somehow they figured out how to make their hair blonder, going from like white to blonde. And even some of the men, not the women, but some of the men were able to make their hair look like almost dark brown. But it was, and I remember asking how, and I didn't even get my sentence out, and I got told it was their own frequency. They work on it on a regular basis. So they were changing their own hair color to fit in. And I was like, whoa. I mean, that was a real mind bender to me. It just blew me out of the water with that one. Um, Angelica, I also remember flying in a drone type of craft. Oh, we need to have a conversation. Because I can probably put you in to a couple of different things that might be useful to you, Angelica. Para, some folks say the Nordics and the Pleiadians are the same. Can you confirm if this is true? No, I can't confirm. I wish I could. I do not know. I would very much like to know. Because on one hand, I've been told that what I saw were the Nordics. On the other hand, what I've been told and shown is that they're Pleiadians. And I'm like, oh boy. So all I know is what I've talked about. Ouch. What I've talked about. So, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. So I honestly, I do not, I really don't know. And I very much would like to know, would love to know. It absolutely fascinates me. Um, there's so many of these ET races that have come to Earth for, I mean, they have seen us grow. Um, from what I could only classify as the Neanderthal days all the way up to now. And I'm like, I can't even, I, to be honest, I can't even fathom that. I still have a hard time fathoming that I know a shape shifting ET that is 3,500, or excuse me, 2,500 years old. 2,500 years old. This oldest one was 3,500. Yeah, okay. I also know an ET that's 1,200. I can't even wrap my head, my human brain, around a living creature that can be that old and not be frail and fragile. And they're very active and very, very much alive. And muscle, all I can think of is muscle. I mean, they're functioning. They're more than just functioning. I'm just like, I can't even, I still, even though I've known it for what, 5, 6 years now? 5. Yeah, 5 years. I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that I know ETs that are that old. And they sure as hell don't look it. I'm just like, how is that possible? But it has to do with what I was told. It has to do with, yeah, well, the 3,500, I keep getting stuck in my head. 3,500 years old, I keep getting stuck in my head for a very, very specific reason. Um, and that has to do with the fact that we were talking about a specific type of other ET. And I've got that stuck in my head, but then it goes back to the 2,500 because that's what he was. And then the other one was 1,200. And so I have a tendency with those specific numbers. I get caught up in the conversation of what what he and I were talking about. And it's still, I still can't even, but basically how it was described to me, I'm not going to say how it was described to me, but how I understood it was that they have a different time factor on their planet than what we have on Earth. Ours is very slow. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean it's very slow? Because that he did say. He was trying to put it into to words that I would understand. And I mean, I understood what he said in the way he said it, but I was like, but now I've really got questions. And how does this apply to how? And when he said that Earth was very slow, it actually, for some reason, jived. It jived with something that I understood from some past lifetime that I still can't quite wrap my brain around this lifetime. I still have a hard time with it. So that's why it gets this wishy-washy type of, what the fuck is she saying? Because of that one conversation. Because we had so much information that we talked about that I lose the three numbers, 1200, 25, and 35. I still have the sensation of when he told me he was 2500, and and it did the first month I was in utter and total and complete denial. Oh, just I just kept saying no way in hell. There's no way in hell. It took me 10 months to wrap my head around it, and by 12 months, by a full year later, I was like, holy fuck, it's real. I mean, I couldn't get out of saying that. I mean, it was just good moisturizers he uses. Yeah, to say the very least. um the ones that are 100,000 years old can be cantankerous. Get off my star system. Yeah. Oh god. Um. Oh jeez. Anyway, now that we've had a good laugh, or at least a minor laugh, I don't know. Anyway, I've got a really weird sense of humor after all of this. Hey, shadow miners. After all of this, it's just rather. It's like, where do you go from here? I mean, really, in grand scheme of things, ET abductee, psychic medium, deal with all kinds of paranormal, deal with all kinds of hierarchy. It's just spirits on a daily basis. I mean, I had a young spirit, very young spirit, very young soul, come to me and talk to me yesterday. While I'm in the shower, I'm like, really? You why when I'm in the shower? I like, why? And then their family member came in and had a conversation with me, and I was just like, wow, okay. So apparently I was the mouthpiece, and the information will get to who it needs to go to eventually, and if that family ever chooses to talk to me, they'll talk to me and I'll give them the info. But sorry, hair falling out again, driving me nuts. What the hell? There we go. So yeah, I think we are wrapping up at Shadow Miners. Yeah, we really are in the grand scheme of things. So that's essentially it. I mean, where do you go from these life experiences? I'm 57. I had all these experiences from birth. Really, I mean, really, where I remember it from is age 4 years old. Um, being on an ET ship, looking out and putting my hand on a window, going, "What's that?" and touching the window, and it's an energy barrier, not a window, and being told to get off of there, and having a human come and pick me up when I didn't want him touching me, and I got up climbed up the stairs to this platform that wasn't there before because the ship manifested it. It literally built it, took it right out of my head because I wanted to see outside the window. It's a whole nother subject. I mean, I've talked about all this. It's batshit crazy as hell type of information, but I've experienced it. And do I care if you believe me or not? No. It's, but this is my life. This is what I've experienced. Whether or not you choose to believe it, that's up to you. I get that. I understand that. I'm the same way. I'm very logical, sequential oriented in a lot of ways. Have been a good portion of my life, and to come out and start talking about this. I mean, I've been doing this for, well, I've been out talking since 2018, but to have a channel, I've been doing the channel since 2022, I think. So, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy conversation to have. But ETs, yeah, they are here. They are on this planet. Some of them have chosen to stay. Some of them are in Earth, inner Earth, and I know people that just absolutely are like, that's bullshit. Well, then why are ETs on and inside the moon not also bullshit to you? But yet, there are things that they. So I get it. Everybody has their own belief systems. I totally get it. Um, you gotta live your life how you can function. And I'm doing pretty damn good functioning wise. So, and I want people to know, I want other abductees to know, other ET abductees to know that it's okay to talk. Yeah, you're going to get shit, but there's a lot of it. As a girlfriend of mine used to say back in the, well, God, ever since I knew her from the 1990s, water off a duck's back, Nikki. It's water off a duck's back. And she's right, because you have to repel a lot of shit. And especially if you're going to be public. And I know many people that they don't want anything to do with being public, but they need to be in a group. So they find a group that they can safely talk in, and a private group, whether it's on Zoom or Teams, or what's now from Skype down into Teams now, or some other platform that's being used, and they have private conversations in group, whatever the group is, or whatever the subject matter of the group is for that day, whether it's once a month, once a week, twice, whatever. Paria? Yeah, Angelica, you're right. When you've experienced it, you don't need validation. In the grand scheme of things, you really don't. But at the same time, it's nice when you receive it, because then you feel at least some kind of vindication and also validation. Um, yeah, right, Robert. They need a safe area that they can vent, because they're experiencing something that is really hard to wrap the human mind about. And you got ETs who are, you're witnessing things that are so foreign in concept to you as a human being that it's really difficult to grasp, get a handle on. And you turn around and it's completely a different ball game the following day because they're doing something else, or the following time that they abduct you, whenever, however long that is, in between stages. Some people get abducted. There was a time when I was being abducted 3 days a week. That's a lot. That's really a lot. Um, and even a couple of years ago, I was getting abducted once a week. And then it's 2 or 3 times a month, sometimes in the same month. I mean, like twice within a very short amount of time, and then the other one being really far drawn out further into the month, that type of thing. or once a week, So you have to figure out what's going to work for you and if you're going to talk. And if you need support, there are places out there to get it. So that's the other thing that I want you folks to know and that's why I'm talking. I've been talking about psychic mediumship since 2018, well, publicly 2018, but all my life, really, in the grand scheme of things, only I never classified it as psychic or medium. I just knew that that's what I did. This is what it was. This is what was taking place. Um, uh, yeah, Angelica, yes, that is how I feel having you as part of my soul family. Right on. I'm right there with you, my dear. Truly. And it's been a while since we've really talked, but yeah, I mean, we're very connected. It's like that. I mean, everybody's got a soul family at different levels. Anyway, that's it. I just realized it's 3 hours and 50 seconds, so it's time to go. I hope you have. I need to look. Let me double check the date for next week. Whoops, wrong button. Yes, I will be on Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm hoping 7, but it'll most likely be 7:30. Anyway, on that note, so next Thursday, June 5th, I hope you all have a very good weekend, a safe weekend. Enjoy your time. Find things that create joy and humor in your life, even if it's just short little video clips that are humorous. Find a little bit of humor, get some laughter in your life. Yes, Angelica says, may you all sleep with the highest protection of divine energy. Right on. Paris says, bye, folks. Have a good night, day, etc. Right on. Take care, everybody. Love to y'all. Love to you all. All right. Bye, guys. Oh, and I don't know what the subject is for next week. Unlike last few times. Anyway, take very good care. Bye, guys.